Cube counting strategy, tally. Cubes are three-dimensional figures. They are square and they have 6 sides. It is one of the very commonly used manipulative tools in math problems. In this video, we will solve few of the past Math Kangaroo question paper where the questions are based on cubes or building blocks. Things which I would like to share with you are that cubes are identical unless and otherwise very specifically mentioned in the question. Some of the cubes would be hidden. Visualize and explore how the pattern may look like. The very common format of the questions would be to count the number of geometrical cubes in the given figure. While counting, use the combination of multiplication and addition. Don't try and count them one by one. That would be very time consuming. So this is question 17 from year 2017. The picture shows a group of building blocks and a plan of the same group. Some ink spilled on the plan. What is the sum of the numbers what is the sum of the numbers under the ink spills? So to start with, what exactly is a plan? Now, plan, to my understanding, is basically a site diagram for a particular construction site. So, in context to this question, what it looks like is you can see the image on the left hand side. So there are these cubes placed. So if you look at this cube from a top view, what the number of cubes would be is something which we would see as part of the plan. So the hidden message here is how you will look at these cubes placed from a top view, and this is what this diagram of a top view is what has been mentioned. That's my understanding. Okay, so let's see the implied message. A plan of a building block is referred here as the top view of these building blocks. The given plan is showing the number of cubes seen from the top view, each stack-wise. Now let's look at this option 1 here, okay, and evaluate why this number 1 seems to be correct. So if I look from top view, I can see how many number of cube would be available. And this is first layer, this is second layer, this would be the third, and this would be the fourth. So we're going to look at these layers. Here, okay, now I have the pointer. So I was referring to this layer here. Okay, now if you look at this layer from top, you can see that there is 1 cube, and that's why in this square you can see as 1. Let's look at number 2. So on the number 2 plan, you can see it's 3 and 1. So from top view, when I look at, I can see this and this square is something which is part of number 2 stacking of the blocks. So if I look at the first panel here, I can see only 1, and that's why the square has 1. If I look at the second panel, I can see it's 3 cube, 1, 2, and 3, and that's why it's 3. Now let's look at the third plan. So third plan would be this one, where the red arrow is pointed. This belongs to the second. The red arrow is pointing to the third one. So it's only 1, and that's why you see number 1 here. Now the question asks us to find out what would be the number in these two shaded square. So this is the fourth plan, and this is the fifth one. The fourth plan we will see in future slides. So let's see the fourth plan here. So these four lines which you see is what is part of the fourth plan. So if I count this, it's 3, which shows here. If I look at this stack of cubes, it's 4 cubes. That's what you see here. And the fourth plan has 1 cube at the further right, which is what you hear. Now we need to look at what could be added here, which is pointing towards the stack of cubes on this line. So of course you can see half of the top cube. You do not see the bottom cube, but you can take a cube from the neighboring stack and you know that there are 2 cubes. So this number here should be number 2. You can take a moment to digest what has been said. Let's look at plan 5. So the plan 5 is the last slab which is kept here. Okay, now we need to count the number of slab here. We can see that one of the cube is hidden, and if you want to take help of the neighboring stack, you can go ahead and count it, which is 1, 2 and 3. So I'm going to write number 3 in this square. Okay, now the question is how much, what are the total number of cubes if you add them from these two shaded square, and the answer would be 5. So the option is answer C. Question 23, year 2011. This carries 5 marks. Picture 1 shows a castle built out of identical cubes. When you look at the same castle from above, it looks as shown in picture 2. Every cube lies either on the ground or on the top of another cube. How many cubes were used to build the castle? So these are the pictures which you have, and this is the top view, so you would see everything flat. Now my understanding of why they would have given picture 2 is to just let you know that none of the cubes are missing. So if you look at the cubes here, the ask from the question is that we need to count the number of cubes. Now there is no need for us to go, though they are quite visible, it is not required for us to count one by one. The quicker way of counting would be to use the multiplication and addition combination of both. So you can see that there are 3 stacked pillars which are slightly higher, and then there are 2 stacked pillars. So how I would go about solving this question is, I will count the number of 3 stacked taller pillar and number of 2 stacked pillars to find out my final answer. So if I see the 3 cube blocks and count the number of pillars, I get that there are 8 pillars and each pillar has 3 cubes. So that makes it total 24 cubes. If I count the 2 cube blocks, there are 16 pillars. So and each pillar has 2 cubes. So the total number of cubes would be 32 cubes. The answer to this question is we need to add 24 and 32. That's 56 cube. The answer is option A. Question 15, year 2012. A rectangular prism is made of 4 pieces as shown. Each piece consists of 4 cubes and is a single color. What is the shape of white piece? Now you can see the prism here, and there are 5 options given here. So these 5 options are a possible projection of the white color cube. Now we need to write down some of the implied information by looking at the cube picture here. So one thing which is implied, which is also part of the question, is that there are 4 cubes of the same color. So we can see there are 4 different color cubes which are stacked together. The second implied message is all the cubes of the same color are stacked together. They are not separated from each other, and they are not further away. They're all attached and stacked together, the same color cubes. So using this understanding, let's see if we can go ahead and solve this problem. So this is the front view of the cube which we have, and we have to check what could be the color of the white cubes. What would be the possible shape of the white color cubes? Now, the front view, we do not see any white color cube. They're all stacked behind. So we can take a calculated judgment here that the last 3 cubes of the bottom layer is something which we don't know what the color could be. So using the already known information, we will apply them and solve the problem further. Now this is the front view, and to understand how the rear view would look like, we need to twist this image. Now this is the rear view image, and this is the projected image in my mind. So we have these 3 cubes where the color is not known. Now, one of the important points which we understand by looking at the front view is all the cubes of the same color are stacked together. So the dark gray, which we see 3 here, the first cube, I would put this as dark gray. That's when it would be stacked together. If I placed it on number 2 or number 3 cube, it would be separated from its pack. So the dark gray cube should be placed at number 1. The cube 2 and 3 automatically becomes the white cubes because each color has 4 cubes. So the balanced second and third cube are the white cube. So if you try and gauge how the white color cube would look like from behind, it's almost a Z pattern. Here. Okay, now if you look at option D, we see that it's the mirror image of the rear view because all the options which has been provided to us is the front image. So if you look at this derived image here and try to imagine how it would look from the front, it would match to the option D. So that's my answer for this question. It's option D.